Hello, Internets. This is Chris, aka Critically Accursed, aka the voice behind dashing swashbuckler Riley Moorheim. I'm here today to introduce you to the latest episode of the Eterna podcast, and to thank you for following us. We have quite the time playing these sessions, and honestly love that we get to share our interest in tabletop RPGs and telling stories to other like-minded individuals. Likewise, we'd certainly love to hear from you on Twitter, at EternaP, that's at AETERNAP, if you'd ever like to connect to anyone involved in our podcast. Without further ado, I do believe it's time to begin game.
Okay, anyway, I'm off track as fuck. Hello everybody, last time on Dick and Ball Z, last time. Okay, so last time y'all had set out from the city, you'd found this well, you didn't find him, you encountered a scuffle involving two men and this child who has introduced himself apprehensively as Rat, whom you've taken under your wing to prevent him from
being
becoming
murdered?
accosted by the authorities and possibly being killed. He has not been friendly. He has pointed knives at you, and he has been very antisocial. There was a brigand on the road, whom some of you noted as being the feared flying highwayman, who attempted to steal an elven man's cart, an elven man by the name of Clintoriel, who he says, you can call me Clint. And you fought him off sufficiently for him to run away, and retrieved mostly intact Clint's cart, to which he summarily thanked you, and shortly thereafter offered you a job acting as bodyguards / mercenaries under his employ to go do an expedition to an old ruin. He offered you a very gracious 500 gold a head if the lot of you would come. 500 each, rather, for the 6 of you. And just up there at the end, y'all have been like, how are we gonna deal with locks and traps? And Rat, the child, had implied through action that he was capable of doing such things.
It's sad because Rat the child is probably a better rogue than I am.
No.
He is very good at, 3 things, and that is it.
Yeah.
He's terrible.
One of
at
them is
everything else.
being a rogue.
Well, you are a tailor. You are a tailor more than a rogue.
It's true.
Unfortunately for you, that's the second thing he's good at. When you decide to switch, that'll be the third thing he's good at.
Yeah.
He just whips up a nice, royal gown, in 20 minutes.
Turns out this kid is just one-upping me the entire campaign.
Yeah, that's
all he
the
does.
goal.
Just all he does is prove he's better than you.
Exactly.
His stats are exactly the same as yours, but +1.
He literally just copy-pasted your sheet and just added 1 to everything.
Well, to be fair, he is he is 4 times as old as you, I believe, roughly.
Yeah. Well, you said he was an elven child, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, look, he's better at aging, too. Wow.
He certainly is.
Yes, so, I believe y'all were coming to a conclusion on whether or not you would, as a group, go work for Clint in this.
We had decided to go, and I was arguing with somebody at one point about whether Rat was going to go into the ruins with us or not. And I believe Riley broke that up and kind of settled the matter.
I think it was, I think the fight, quote-unquote fight, was with Leaf, and Riley did step in.
It wasn't a fight, it was an argument. I didn't throw any magic.
No initiative was rolled, so it's not a fight.
Yeah.
It was not a combat. Semantics.
I see.
Semantics.
If you want to know the difference between a fight and argument, I can come in there and demonstrate. I may be sick, I'm not too sick to kick your ass.
Anyhow,
So, this is the voice I'm going to be using for the rest of the night. No, not really.
Oh god, no.
Quitter.
Hey.
Okay, look, I'll just mute my mic so you can get on with this.
We'll get there eventually, folks. Just keep listening. Forward ahead about 20 minutes.
Not 20 minutes, just 2. Jeez, that would be a lot of just leaving bullshit in. Okay, so y'all were, basically come to a conclusion. I don't think you had actually returned to Clint just yet.
I never left Clint.
That's true. You never left Clint. So you were there looking through his stuff, and that is where we left off. You're standing out on the road. At the moment, the caravan isn't moving along. The bulk of you were discussing Rat still in the cart, and Brock, you were digging through old stuff in the back of Clint's cart.
Yes, very carefully though. As to not break stuff.
You're not going to ruin a tapestry?
I'd rather not.
Don't want to use it as a blanket.
No. I would rather not disrespect these things.
Okay.
And use them as a blanket.
Especially while you're stoned out of your mind.
Do such a thing.
Catfolk. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and just go in order. Riley, what are you doing?
Well, if we haven't reported to Clint that we're accepting the job yet, Riley is going to make his way over to do so.
I would probably go with him.
Okay. Anybody else going with? Anybody staying at the cart? Anybody going off and doing their own thing?
I'll stay with the kid.
Okay.
Monitoring the rat situation.
The rat situation. There's only the one still. He hasn't caused an infestation yet.
But he has a new knife.
He does have a new knife. He hasn't pointed it at you just yet.
Yet.
We're just sitting still, we're not in motion, right?
Right, the caravan's on a break.
Alright, then I'll forage.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a survival right quick.
Just as soon as the internet cooperates.
Survival.
That would be a 15.
15.
Just one yet.
Alright. So yeah, you're able to supply enough food for a meal for yourself and one other person.
So I've got food for 2. I guess I'll get to prepping that.
Alright. So you go about prepping that. Meanwhile, Riley and was it Lark?
Mm-hmm.
You are both heading back to Clint's cart.
Yes. Sounds about right.
Clint's cart. Yeah. So you return, and he's standing there. He's speaking with Brock, pointing out various things that Brock is pointing at and being like, "Oh, what's this? What's that?" Woohoo!
We can wait patiently for their conversation to finish.
Look, centuries old erotica. So is there anything in particular you're looking for, Brock?
Oh no, he would just, if something looks interesting, he'd pick it up, probably ask the story behind it. If there's any significance to it, or if it's just kind of just like a random thing?
A lot of things he has stuff to say about. Some things are just, examples of either art or tools or whatnot of the time period that they're from. There are some things that are more storied, though. He has some tapestries which are not torn. They are in good condition. That tell stories and whatnot. There's books, very old books that he has. He has a very old looking, sort of dusty glass bottle that is like waxed and corked. That he tells you is very delicate. Please don't break it.
Is that the whiskey?
Yeah, that's the whiskey. It's the 1,000-year-old whiskey. And
Okay.
You would notice that Riley and Lark have approached. Best buddies.
The dynamic duo, if you will.
Yes, the dynamic duo that trust each other implicitly with each other's lives.
It's just not my stuff. Keep away from my stuff, okay?
I would look up from the stuff, and I would just kind of wave, and I would be like, "So we come to a decision then?"
Yeah, Riley strides forward, greeting both Brock and Clint. And looking to Clint, Riley will say, "After much debate within our party, we have come to the conclusion that yes, we would like to assist you and take this job."
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. We're not that far from the road we'll have to take. You should come upon it here in about 3 or 4 hours travel. I will pull off to the side of the road and signal you so that you know where to follow. We'll be taking this short detour to the Black Keep, and then we'll make our way on to Torn to rest and resupply before heading back onto Starlight.
Now that we have accepted this job, is there any more information you would be able to share about the Black Keep?
Yes, some. There've only been a few minor expeditions simply to find it, not to inquire much as to the inside. It's cheaper to pay people to go find something than it is to have them go in and see how many traps are still functional. And no, it's not full of liches. That would be terrifying, especially at level 1.
That's oddly specific.
I really hope he's not lying to us.
It's a fort from the Noctis Civil War, left over. That was the last time it was populated, as far as I know. It was right in the crossfire of the Royalist defense and the Elven Exodus and the war that was going on there, the Purge, of where the Royalists were trying to keep the Elves from coming into Noctis territories.
Could you tell me more information about this purge?
Yes. About 200 years ago was the end of the Civil War. It had begun some years earlier. And around the same time, the Stone Queen of Voidosa, she had just begun to spread her influence out from what was at the time a relatively small kingdom. And many elves, as you know, were forced out of their homes. They were not welcome to practice their own beliefs and livelihoods in the Stone Queen's kingdom. And some fled south to Obscura, but many found that to be a more dangerous road to take, so many of them came here to Noctis. But the vast influx of elves to the area, which was in of itself many times larger than the native elf population, was not well accepted by the royalists. So they sided, the elves did, with the revolutionaries, and together they helped push the Civil War into a state of disbalance. Prior to that, it had been mostly in the favor of the royalists, but with the elves wanting to find a place for themselves and not really being able to go back where they came from, they helped turn that tide. And after about 4 years of being here, the Civil War came to an end. In the revolutionaries' favor. And, well, now the government you see, in the social structure of this land, for the most part, is that solely of the Republic. So, I was just a small child at the time that the war ended. I did grow up. There were many royalists, though defeated. They were still around. So there was still a bit of adversity. But as time went on, I saw the attitudes of the people change. Things faded into memory, and then into history. And you don't see many people having trouble with elves anymore, which is good. But at the same time, I don't think it's a good thing for us to forget. That's why I do what I do. That's why I run a museum.
Of course, very commendable. But you mentioned the purges, so who was purging who?
Well, the royalists wanted to purge the elves who were coming in, known as the Elves of Exodus. They wanted to purge them from Noctis and get rid of them because they were, to quote one of these, and he holds up an old journal, overrunning the land with foreign ways. And,
Alright.
of course, there was the Stone Queen's own purge of sorts, and if you don't know anything of the Stone Queen, it is conform, leave, or die.
Alright, I'm not too familiar with the Stone Queen, but she sounds like quite the treat. So my understanding is this was a failed purge.
Yes, it was ultimately. Many died, but it did fail.
Alright, so failed purge, got it. The fortress where we will be headed to, it was the royalists. The royalists owned the fortress, is that correct?
They did, yes. But after the war, from what I've been able to dig up, after the war, the defenders laid many traps, but ultimately fell to the siege. And those without saw no reason to continue with it. It was going to become a relic of a bygone era. So it has sat there untouched.
So it's
Some
just
say-
fallen into disuse.
Yes, some say it was cursed or haunted, but...
I would like to
from-
hear more about this. Cursed or haunted?
Yes, by liches nonetheless.
From all the materials I can find, and from every person who's come up to it simply says there's nothing particularly foreboding about the place. It doesn't seem haunted. They've had no run-ins with the undead. Of course, we haven't gone inside, to be fair. But scattered reports of the place being haunted or cursed due to the last words recorded of its commander. Though, of course, no proof has come of this, and I've been to quite a many ruins that have been stated to be haunted or cursed before, and it's just people being afraid.
So what were the last recorded words of the commander?
He said that any elf or revolutionary that should step within would die a painful death. He would ensure that his soul sought to it.
All right. Great. How many elves we got?
Well, there's me. I did see your one friend with the tree.
Then there's the kid.
At least the one.
Yeah, he hasn't seen Rat.
Okay. Cool.
I don't know how it extends to half-elves, but your healer friend may count.
Right. Okay. So lots of elven blood headed in here. Got it. Okay.
Now, as I said, I've no reason to believe that it actually is haunted or cursed.
Famous last words right there.
That's fair. I do treat it with a bit of caution, but the points of reference are so scattered and thin. There's nothing real firm.
I have very poor luck with entering ruins that are rumored to be finds. So you'll forgive me if I'm overly cautious on this.
Well, being cautious would always be the best way to go about it, even if it was not rumored to be cursed.
This is
Certainly.
true.
Like, and as I've said before, from what I understand, it is heavily trapped. And likely what this curse is speaking of, that was mentioned, is there were probably some who tried to enter at some point and fell to such traps. People
make
have
sense.
always been superstitious.
That would make sense. Well,
As far as hauntings go, if a building is old, people say it's haunted. I've seen this time after time.
this is true, but no reason why we shouldn't approach cautiously.
Absolutely. Any preparations you can make will certainly come in handy, I'm sure.
All right.
Then tell me, Clint, just in case this place does happen to be haunted and the commander's lingering around, do you have his name? Something I may address him by if we meet.
Yes. Hold one moment, and he flips through that very journal he held up before. Yes, his name was Commander Vurik Mansfield.
Do you intend to try and be diplomatic with a ghost?
No, but if he does approach, I would like to know his name without having to ask.
All right.
Well, I should pray and hope that we don't run into any ghosts.
That would be very unfortunate. But I think that's all the questions I have.
And what of you, Brock and Riley? What, you have any other questions?
Riley will say, yes, actually, it's curious hearing you talk about history like this, considering you've been, as an elf, you've been alive for a decent portion of it. And
Indeed.
it's curious to me to think about living a life being so focused on history and having lived through such history.
Honestly, as long as I've lived, my life has been relatively peaceful. As I said, there's been some adversity, but that's faded with time.
So you've seen and witnessed the world moving around you, and you felt comfortable merely watching and recording?
Well, for a long time I had little choice. I was but a child. Once I grew into adulthood, I began work as a scribe, recording what's already been written, just copying books for the most part. It's a good profession, but I was saving up. I wanted the stories that I had learned from my parents and their parents and other elves, and the stories I'd learned from the humans and the dwarves and gnomes. I could see that these tales, these legends, they were fading. I wanted to help preserve. Time destroys everything, but we can work against it.
And for that, especially of the lifespan of the elves, I admit I'm envious. Such length of time to bear witness to the things around you and to act as a living testament to what has transpired.
Many are, and all too many of my kind do not live into old age for that very reason.
Well, I hope that you make it there, kind sir, and maybe perhaps tell my story someday.
Thank you. I should hope I would be able to.
My name's Riley Moorheim, by the way.
Nice to meet you, Riley Moorheim.
Of Riley Moorheim and Company.
Tell all your bard friends.
I don't think I'm going to do that one again.
I just told you my name. Why aren't you writing it down? I don't see you writing my name down. You should be writing it down. I just told you what my name is. Write it down.
I'll give him a business card later, it's fine. But I think that's the end of Riley's questions, if Brock has anything.
Okay.
No, Brock would just look up and he would be like, most of my questions have been answered with the revelation that this may be cursed, but I am still interested in exploring its depths, but that is all the information I need.
And just as a forefront to this, I realize I did not explain that to you before you accepted. But should we come across something that it is stained that cannot be handled, we can leave. It is not worth anyone's life.
Well, that's very appreciated.
There are a great many things that I wish to find and bring back, and I've traveled a good portion of the world at this point to bring back artifacts. But nothing I have found, in my opinion, is worth anyone's life.
Will you be going in with us, or will you be waiting outside until we give you the all clear?
I will come in with you. I would not ask you to go within without being willing to go myself. And that some things must be seen to be recorded properly. And especially traps. You would be surprised how many traps.
Yes, well, I was thinking about the traps. It can be quite dangerous in there. Are you capable of defending yourself?
I'm not much of a fighter, but I should hope that I won't be the one in front.
We'll do the best to protect you, but if you're going in there with us, we can't guarantee your safety.
I realize that fact. But you greatly improve my odds.
Well, we can ask the tree to bodyguard him, at the very least.
That would be great. I would be most grateful for that.
All right.
Keep tripping over my own damn tongue.
It happens, man. I get it.
So,
All right, sounds good.
I think the caravan's about to get up and moving again here in a few minutes. As I said, keep an eye out for me on the right side of the road here, and pull off when you see me.
Absolutely. Right. It would be embarrassing if we were to miss that.
Don't roll a one.
I'll try not to.
That would be great. Everybody just rolls a 1 and we just continue on our adventure and just leave it alone.
He's just sitting on the side of the road like, the whole caravan passed. Where are they at?
And then we're like, oh shit, and then we like double back and he's been eaten by wolves.
Then we get all his stuff. So technically that's a win.
Yeah, it's true. I would still feel bad.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. So, what do you three do?
I think it's time to rejoin the rest of the party.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll go back with them.
Alright, so y'all are on your way back. In the meantime of these conversations, has the rest of our party been doing anything?
Well, I don't think Rat's a great conversationalist. So, probably sitting there quietly.
Okay.
Foresight's not much better.
No. Yes, Foresight is the most talkative.
I've decided that Leaf is going to start preparing Goodberry as a first level spell slot every day, so I can stop spending my whole day foraging.
Alright.
And he'll get back to his little trinket creation while we're on the road, making small talk, taking requests.
Alright. So foresight, you're still technically doing your craft for your failed botch way back. I think you've got like another day of that before that's done. And why don't you go ahead and give me a crafter profession, Leaf? Damn!
Natural 20 on my craft carpentry. Total of 26 for those who are curious.
So you're just making a little trinket though, right?
Yeah, just like a little toy soldier or whatever.
You make the
Like that.
fuck out of that trinket.
Yeah. It's like a G.I. Joe action figure.
I don't know about that.
Kung
But
Fu
like you
grip.
make it in like an hour. Like you good. Alright. So the group reconvenes. Anybody want to say anything to anybody?
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, at the very least, we can relay the information we learned from Clint so that everyone's clued in and everything. No liches. There are no liches there.
It might be wise to warn Leaf.
Explicitly and specifically, no liches.
But we're still headed to Elf Murder Castle.
Yes.
But no liches, this is confirmed.
Right? So there's really nothing to be afraid of.
How does Leaf feel about Elf Murder Castle?
It might be haunted, just not by liches.
Well, judging from your recounting of the man's tale, do you put much stock in the supernatural?
He seems rather convinced that the claims of a curse and of haunting were superstition.
I see. Well, I suppose I'm willing to take the risk as long as I have the group by my side. I should be safe with all of these wonderful adventurers, yes?
I was just about to say, you need not worry about anything. We'll watch your back.
You've much experience in fighting specters and wraiths, yes?
Absolutely.
Make a bluff.
I'm saying that obviously, like facetiously. Like, yeah, of course. Don't you?
I'm gonna start, like, remodeling that fancy toy soldier into a crucifix.
Just kind of like shave off the pecs.
Yeah, he's in permanent T-pose.
Just put it in T-pose.
Speaking of protection, Leaf, would Box be open to watching over Clint specifically during this adventure?
I'm uncertain of how much use he might be without my guidance, but certainly we can attend to him if it's needed.
That would be wonderful. The old elf doesn't have much of a knack for combat, if it comes to it.
Yeah, surely. I'll stay by his side.
Appreciate it.
Is that sort of service needed now, or is that when we get to our destination at Elf Murder Castle?
I think it's only once we arrive at Elf Murder Castle.
I see.
I wonder if there's a certain term that's going to be used in the drinking game in this one.
Elf Murder Castle?
Oh, I don't know, maybe.
Oh, Elf Murder Castle. Right. That makes sense.
Elf Murder Castle. Yeah.
Right.
Well, Clint has made it known that he would like to enter with us into Elf Murder Castle. So, being that it is Elf Murder Castle and he is an elf, we might take extra care of watching
Us
over him.
knifers gotta stick together.
I suppose.
Edgar has said nothing but has face palmed at least 3 times during this conversation.
This is fair.
Nobody says the Black Keep. They just say Elf Murder Castle.
That's not
And-
what it was called?
No, it was called the Black Keep.
Oh, okay.
And to anybody who has like a pain in their liver while listening to this, you can all thank Chris, aka Riley motherfucking Morheim.
It's okay. I'm drinking with you guys, don't worry.
He's the one who it's all his fault. He made me enjoy this.
Everything is my fault, thanks.
Well, I mean, he's the one who brought up Carlos' place, didn't he?
Oh, I forgot about Carlos' place.
Oh god, we've killed him. Roll fortitude.
I always fail. Unless you have more conversation, or even with more conversation, the caravan begins moving.
Alrighty.
I will hop in the back of the cart, as I do.
Like you do. So, are y'all gonna do anything in particular on your way?
Yep. There's one thing I would like. I want to know if somebody would be able to give me a 5 gold advance on the payment. I'll pay you guys back, or whoever lends me money, I'll pay you back when I get paid. I need to do some shopping. We're going into a trap-heavy dungeon.
I could spare
I'm
the
not
funds.
quite as equipped as a rogue should be for this situation at the moment.
I could spare the funds. Leaf will lend it out.
Okay.
Are you certain you only need the 5 gold? If there's any way you could be more prepared, I'd be willing to spare the additional funds.
Okay, great. So what I'm looking for, so, okay. In that case. Okay. This is what I'm looking for. First, a 50-foot rope.
Easy enough to find.
Okay. 10 pitons.
That is the first time I've ever heard anybody say it that way. But yes, also easy enough to find.
Okay. How's it normally pronounced? Like pitons?
Yeah, Pitten.
Okay. I've always pronounced it piton. I've probably been pronouncing it incorrectly.
I've heard people say Pitten, and I've heard a few people say Python.
Okay. I've always said piton, but that might be because I'm French and Canadian. And we pronounce things improperly all the time.
We all know it's a piton.
It makes it sound fancier. Go ahead.
In French, piton. Anyways. Okay, so, there's that. I would like to buy a crowbar.
Also easy enough to find.
Okay.
There's like a general goods cart.
Fair enough. Now, these are the slightly more difficult items because I'm looking in the SRD right now and I can't quite find it. And this one I'm actually quite surprised. A retractable 10-foot pole. That is like a staple of like D&D adventuring. How much would that cost me if I'm able to find it?
Oh, a retractable one?
Retractable one. That's right.
Not folding, retractable.
That's right.
Telescoping, one might say.
Like I'm picturing, you know those like police batons that you like press one button, it's like, and it's like baton just like immediately comes out. I'm picturing that, but 10 feet.
What does it sound like again? Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with ones that make difference.
Right.
Specifically that one.
It's specific.
Like, not ones that go katunk.
No. If it goes katunk, there's something wrong with it.
And a folding one is 100% unacceptable.
It needs to be.
Huh. That's expensive. Sound effects are super expensive.
That's right.
Good thing we have some grade A, top tier, straight out of Hollywood Foley artists on this cast.
I found one in the archives of Nephis called a folding pole. It does not mention fish anywhere.
Right. The retractable pole is something I've only seen in D&D.
Well, here's a reference.
That's a pain to find. So I'm just going to make a DM thing. I'm going to say you can, if it can be found, which I shall find out here. If it can be found. It can be found. It shall cost 2 gold.
For a retractable pole?
Yes, for a retractable pole. But it will be able to fit in like, it'll only be like 6 inches long.
Okay.
Does it make the specific noise, or does it go katunk? Or does it go?
No, it doesn't go katunk.
Oh.
Okay, good. Because I wouldn't have bought it.
but it is much more space efficient.
Fair enough. And then, okay, so this is possibly the last item. And this one I really don't know if anybody would be carrying. A bag of dust.
A bag of dust.
A bag of dust.
Buy a broom and
Like
craft
just-
your own.
Not like dust of appearance, like not magical dust, not glittery dust. I just need dust.
He's looking for pocket sand.
Yeah.
Would a bag of sand suffice?
The reason that I want to do it is because if we ever come across any tripwires, I want to be able to like fling a bag of dust, so that way it's going to be make other tripwires easy to detect.
Just buy a broom and craft your own bag of dust.
Oh, so like.
Yeah.
It's a little wet for that.
Yeah, that's true.
Will it be wet inside Elfmurder Castle?
I'll say you can probably find a very simple alternative in a small bag of flour.
Oh, that's brilliant. Okay, absolutely.
And a bag of flour.
That's even better than dust. And more useful.
Curse you and your culinary sorcery.
Nothing like impromptu explosives. So that will cost you 2 copper. Now, the bag it comes in is very shitty and will easily tear. If you want, like, proper, like, little leather pouches to put it in, they cost 1 silver apiece.
Okay. I don't care if the bag is shitty.
Okay.
So, I will just buy that. So, bag of flour. Okay, perfect. And then after that, there's just one thing to consult my character sheet for.
And that is a 2-pound bag of flour.
All right, perfect. I don't have thieves' tools, but I don't need them because I have crochet. Yeah, I need them.
You would, I would say probably on locks of, unless you have something that allows you to use, without actual thieves' tools, I'll say any lock above average quality, you'll take the -2.
Aha, but Sean, you fell into my trap card. No, not for me, because I have a trait. I am self-reliant, which means no penalty for improvised tools.
There we go. And that's the word I was looking for, improvise.
Yeah.
All right, so yes, yes. You will
Yeah.
not take that penalty.
Dope.
Beautiful.
Nailed it.
I know, right?
Alrighty then. So, if that's all you're shopping, because you stated that that was the last item, you're never allowed to shop again.
Okay. I accept this.
You go about your business, heading back or not.
Okay. So yeah, once that's done. Oh, by the way, Riley, that cost me 6 gold rather than 5. I really busted out the big bucks with the crowbar.
Okay, I didn't give you the gold, but that's nice to know.
Yeah, that was Leaf, I do believe.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was Riley who. Never mind.
We'll send Riley the bill.
I can spot you the extra gold if you want. That's fine.
No. I'll take it from Leaf.
It is Riley Moorheim's company.
It is Riley Moorheim's company. It is.
I don't mind. I have exactly 5 gold on my person. If you ask nicely, you can have it.
Costed 6, but
A bill to Riley Moorheim for dungeon goods from whips and wagons.
Yes, that's fine. Forward it to our employer. Thank you.
All right, so I'm good. I am ready for this.
All right. Anybody else?
I think I'm good. I don't need to buy anything. I'm happy just walking along with the caravan.
All right. Going once, going twice. 3 strikes, you're out, because that's how that works.
It certainly is.
Yeah, the only difference between the folding pole and the collapsing pole really is the size that it can compress down to.
All
The
right.
folding pole goes down to 3 feet, and the collapsing one goes down to 6 inches, which is half a foot.
Sounds good.
Yeah, Foresight was just saying they're basically the same thing, but for like 10 times the difference in price. That's what you call a bell curve. It's actually not a bell curve, it's just an upward curve. Anyway, I'm getting off track. Math! Yay! So, a few hours pass, and go ahead and make the perception checks. Everybody roll a 1.
I can do that.
okay. Here's one for you. Oh, well.
Oh, fuck. Foresight actually rolled a 1.
Has a 20.
Got a solid 14.
Lark got a 21 on his perception.
Riley with 11.
Baru.
Foresight with a 2.
Yes.
Adira with an 18.
Foresight clearly paying the utmost attention.
So does Trey get something special for obeying the DM?
A request was put in, and I mean, hey man,
Well, he has a plate of ham and potatoes. That's his reward.
I'll take it.
Because that is all you see is ham and taters.
I follow it.
Alright, so, Leaf, you are walking outside, or are you sitting in the back?
Sitting in the back.
Okay. Lark, I take it you are still leading the cart?
That's right.
Alright. So you will be the first to notice, for multiple reasons, that there is a wagon on the side of the road.
Okay.
Little lanterns dangling from its sides.
Okay. What state of repair does this wagon look like it's in?
It looks like the same wagon you're supposed to be looking for on the side of the road.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, so then I would signal this wagon and then probably start approaching it.
Alright, so you pull it out of the column and head over. And indeed, Clint will be sitting in the back, waiting on you. He will wave as you approach. And it's already at a stop, so do y'all come to a stop? Or do you, like, circle him like vultures?
Oh, well, that sounds cooler. But I guess we stop.
I was thinking more circle like a hyena.
That's fair.
I'm not driving, so that's fair.
No, we just approach.
So in the first step to teaching Mozart to be a bard, you have to teach him to laugh like a hyena.
Absolutely.
That crunch somehow made it all the better.
It kind of did, really.
Alright, so he will wave to you, Lark, and he's like, thank you. I was almost afraid that you might walk right on by.
So were we. But it's good we found you.
Yes. Is everybody here?
Riley will just double check to make sure that everyone's with us. It'd be just like Foresight to be like, nah, I'm gonna just stay with the caravan.
I can't argue that.
We veer off the road, he just keeps walking.
Is Foresight just sneaking away?
Honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that he'd probably lose the caravan before he caught up to them, you might not have him.
Sorry, you're stuck with us.
Adira will climb out of the wagon, come out to inspect this elf.
Alright. What does everybody else do? Is everybody who's else in the wagon staying in the wagon, getting out, coming to say hi? What's up?
Yeah, I'll saunter out and say hello
Yeah.
to the employer.
Yeah, I'll hop out.
You saunter out?
Yeah.
Are we in
hips
Farport?
and dips, gotta keep it sexy.
Okay. Walking with that Farport style?
Yeah.
Alright.
So you're our employer.
For those listening who don't know why we just busted out laughing, Troy, aka Brock, just said in chat that we need one of those backpacks with a leash on it for Foresight. Oh shit.
Can someone lend me 5 gold?
I've got 3!
Well, I mean, if you have a backpack, if anybody has a backpack and anybody has a rope,
I do
Oh.
actually. I do. Can I set this up?
make me a flat craft check.
Let's see.
What does that mean, though, Foresight? Is one yes or is one no?
I mean, I always say yes, then no, so...
I got a nat
one
20 on the
yes.
craft check. Is Foresight my pet now?
So
I'm not gonna say no.
okay, so to clarify, so
Wow.
all right, so Foresight rolled to see if he has a thing for being leashed, and Adira rolled a nat 20, giving her a 23 on the craft check. So I'm gonna say that while he was paying attention to his ham and taters, does Foresight have a backpack?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so he's just sitting there. For some reason, his backpack's on his back, eating his ham and taters, and a rope just kind of like feeds through some of the hoops and loops of his backpack and goes around his neck and pulls tight, but not like dangerously tight.
Wow, I love Kinkfinder. This is great.
That day,
Kinkfinder.
this is one of those days where Foresight learns a bit more about himself than he ever thought he should.
Better not have awakened anything in me.
Well,
So, there's an uncomfortable moment. What happens now?
Hi, Clint. This is my company.
So Adira just comes out with Foresight. He got a fucking rope weaved through his backpack and around his neck. And he looks very uncomfortable, which is very normal for him, I suppose. How is Foresight doing on a more personal note?
no, he's okay. No, he doesn't mind this. It happened. He recognized that there was something around his neck. Looked to see who had the other end. He's like, I've been in worse situations.
So Adira slipping into her predecessor's ways. She knows how to tie a knot.
I thought you were gonna say she knows how to subjugate.
I mean, there's that. I was trying not to put that heavy of a evil end on it.
Nah, don't worry. I'm here for that.
So Clint's
I can't breathe well enough to play now.
You got this. I believe in you. Deep breaths.
And this, ladies and gentlemen, is just the tip of the iceberg as to why we have the explicit tag.
Oh shit, we do?
Yeah, we do.
Oh fuck!
You've been on your best behavior for no reason.
Oh man, I learned something today. God.
Now the question is, was that about the podcast or was that about Foresight? Now, Riley, I need you to roll to see if you have a thing for Foresight being tied up.
Oh man, what is that? Is that Will? Or
Well, he just rolled an E2 and one was yes and two was no.
I'll give you a will save.
Okay.
It's a 3.
You have the strangest boner right now.
Don't tell me what my character does.
Oh my god, this has gone so far off track. I need everybody to make a perception check for me.
Okay.
Lark unfortunately got 20.
23.
7.
Riley also with a 7.
Aha! I rolled an 8. I rolled better than someone for once. Never gonna happen again.
Oh boy. Okay, I need specifically Box to roll a second perception. Actually, I don't think Box rolled a perception. Have Box roll a perception.
I shall have Box roll a perception. Seems he's not the only tree in town.
Yes, Foresight, Rat, gotta roll. It's just a secret roll.
Fox got an 18 somehow.
Okay. Go ahead and give him a second one.
Oh no. Don't you dare ruin my tree's innocence. That's also 18.
All right. Okay, so Clint comes out of the back. He just really hops down, honestly. And he's just like, thank you all for coming. Thank you very much for coming. There's a small path here that we're going to be following. It used to be a supply road to the keep. It's not too overgrown. There may be animals in the woods, but I think with a large enough group, they won't think to attack. So, is there anything any of you would like to ask or get out of the way at this time before we begin heading in?
All I'm saying is there better not be liches.
I've been assured, I see it says right here in this journal, absolutely no liches.
Well, if I was going to hide a lich somewhere, I would definitely label that it didn't have any liches in it.
If I was a lich and I had to pick a place to hide my phylactery.
Well, you see it's written in Celestial, so I'm under the impression that it was written by someone of good rapport. Yes. And some of you, I believe I haven't had much time to speak with. I'm Clint. I've met Riley and Brock and Lark here. I spoke with Foresight, I believe it is, for a moment.
Who now has a rope around his neck.
And you, Leaf, you were there on the way back. You, madam? I don't believe I know too well.
No, I don't believe you do.
I am Clintoriel. You can call me Clint.
Adira.
Good to meet you, Adira. I need to make a roll. You are, if I'm not mistaken, you are a Shabti? Or are you something else? I'm sorry, you're a little different than I would expect of that description.
I am.
Well, to be true, I've never seen a Shabti, but I've never read of a Shabti with such stock features as yours.
She just stares at him.
Good to meet you. Any questions? Any other questions?
Where's Rat?
But he was with you.
Is there someone amongst your group named Rat, or are you speaking of Vermin?
Stick my head in the back of the wagon. Is he still there?
No.
He was in the wagon when we stopped.
There can't be too many places he's made off to.
Riley goes to check Clint's wagon.
Make me a perception.
I will try. And I will get a 12.
You see a great many things, but a small elven child is not one of them.
Well, I don't see him here.
Just never mind you that small cage with the sobs coming from it. And I'm just kidding, there is no small cage with sobs coming from it.
No, you said it. It's canon.
We were so busy getting a leash for Foresight, we didn't think about leashing Rat.
No, you don't find a rat in there. You don't see him anywhere.
So, tell me, who was the last one to see Rat?
As I say, he was still sitting in the wagon when I crawled out.
I believe from a technical standpoint, the answer to your question would be Foresight.
Is there anything else around us besides the two carts?
The caravan has just barely passed y'all. It's probably 100 feet up the road at this point. There's a bunch of trees. Like this, it's the edge of a forest. Like this, it's far less dense on the left side than it is on the right where you're at. but this road is currently cutting through a woodland.
Well, unless he decided to run out in the woods and live on his own. He's around here somewhere.
I mean, to a certain extent, if he wants to leave, shouldn't he be free to leave?
I was just about to say, if he wishes to slip off.
Yeah, I'm not saying that he's a prisoner or anything. Just concerned.
Hmm.
Well, as adults who did recruit him into this caravan, I feel at least we're partially responsible.
Well, we didn't entirely recruit him.
Someone with the agency to go thieving and stabbing other people and then slipping off away from the company that has recruited him has enough agency to fend for himself, should he so desire. He is about 60 years old, after all.
It's true.
Can I check to make sure that, because, I spent a decent amount of time in the back of the cart, can I make sure that nothing's missing?
Sure, go ahead.
Is that a perception or...
Yes, that would be a perception.
Well, that was awful. That's a 13.
You don't see anything missing from the cart. And yes, Foresight, you can make a perception check to find footprints.
Or survival.
I would look
Only
out-
like a DC 10.
I would look out the back of the cart and go, well, if he left, it doesn't look like he stole any of Clint's stuff.
Wow.
It's perception to find, survival to follow.
Yep.
Yeah, you would actually find some footprints. They come out of the cart, not out of the back though, out of the other side of the cart, and they sneak around over to where the group is, and then they're like muddled together with Box's footprints, and then they like retreat back around the cart and then off into the woods along the side of the road, to the like forward, like from where you were going, not backwards.
Then he will pull on the rope in order to get Adira's attention. And,
Yeah, Adira's following him. I mean, he's only got
does
so
he
much wiggle room, so.
Does he mumble mommy?
John!
I'm not... Anyway, he points off to where the footprints laid and say, I think these are his footprints leading off this way into the forest.
Well, let's go see if we can find him.
Does our employer mind?
I can wait here for a few minutes.
Okay, yes, if we'd like to take a moment to go venturing in the woods after the Elvish child, I suppose we can do so.
Alright. Everybody who cares to make me a survival check.
Riley, if no one else does, Riley's going to offer to stay behind with Clint to make sure he doesn't get robbed or anything.
I will also stay behind, actually. I don't have much survival.
Dynamic duo,
Okay.
got it.
I have no survival, so that's a big old 2.
I'll assist in looking, and I will be awful.
Apparently I'm really into finding this kid.
Damn.
Oh my god, Leaf.
Leaf got
I know
a
that's
29. He is the most into finding.
My god.
Alright, so you follow the tracks. Foresight and Leaf, you both follow them up to a certain point before it becomes apparent to Foresight that he's actually trying to pick areas like full of roots to walk through. Perhaps either through intelligence or happenstance. But either way, it leads to Foresight eventually, after about 100 or so feet, losing track. However, or not Leaf, Foresight. Leaf, however, continues being able to track the small scuffs and marks of mud on these roots before they're washed away. You can tell Leaf that he's staying relatively parallel to the road, but you can also tell from the difference in the occasional track that he does make in the mud that after a certain distance he stopped stepping as lightly and he started moving very quickly. You started running, probably. But you could probably put together that he's heading towards the caravan.
Yeah, I'll pursue to the best of my ability.
It would seem as though he doesn't want to be found.
But Leaf's gonna keep chasing him.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you going to keep tracking slowly, trying to keep with his footprints, or are you gonna just try and like get out there and make it to the caravan?
Going for speed rather than stealth.
Okay. So you chug along. It takes you probably about 10 minutes to catch up with the caravan in a decent propensity, even chugging along. Go ahead and make me a perception to like try and find him.
That's a 12.
And anyone with you can, yeah.
I was
Here we go.
17.
25.
No, none of you find him.
Alright, well, he's better than us. Let's go home. Pack it up, boys.
He's better enough.
Well, it does seem he clearly does not want to be found. Maybe he has decided to leave.
Foresight. Go ahead and make a wisdom check.
Yeah, 6.
No, everything's fine. So you return back to the group.
Honestly, my first thought was, what if you just like forgot something? I can't even count the amount of times it's like, oh, I forgot my Game Boy. But
He did. He forgot other people's stuff that's still in their pocket.
maybe he left his dagger.
Now, you probably took all our stuff in your perception check, just wasn't enough for us to know it.
Well, technically, I didn't check our stuff. I checked Clint's stuff.
That's true.
So y'all want to go back to the group and look around for anything he could have taken?
I mean,
Yeah.
is all of my stuff on my person still on me?
You can make a perception. Yeah.
I mean, if he took it, it's gone. So there ain't like shit we can do about it, but
Well, he didn't take it from me. Nothing he'd really want to take from me, though.
right? I don't own that much.
Okay.
It's not about
So
what he
Leaf.
gets, it's about the challenge.
So Leaf, do you check your belongings?
I mean, I'm none too concerned unless he wants to steal like a cooking pot from me. I assume you'll let me know if something does wind up missing and I try and use it.
Just let me know the next time you go through Box's equipment. Or the stuff you have him carrying, rather.
Well, actually, I do have.
Box is missing.
Yeah, I do have 26 gold on my person. I don't know if that would have wound up missing.
The 26 gold on your person did not end up missing.
I think it's safe to say that as we're discussing this, everybody just kind of does a general inventory check in terms of like our personal persons. Is anybody missing anything?
Unless Box is checked, nobody is missing anything.
Well, I mean, Riley will note that the footprints led up to Box's footprints, or where Box was standing, fiddled around for a bit, and then ran off immediately, which is highly suspicious, if you ask Riley Moorheim.
Yes,
Okay.
Riley Moorheim. That is very suspicious. Good job. The question is, does anybody check Box's inventory?
Well, I think Lee's the only person who could. The rest of us wouldn't know what to check for.
And Box might punch you for trying.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the only thing that I'd want to do if I've caught up to the caravan and I was unable to find Rat is I'd just kind of like flag one of the guards down from the caravan and let them know that there's a little miscreant out and about and to send them our way if they come across them, rather than flogging and kidnapping them.
Okay. Make me a diplomacy check. Mr. Perfect.
Yeah. And I'm assuming the dude is humanoid, so that'd be +2 or whatever that
Yes,
result
he
is.
Indeed. Human, in fact. So he'll agree. I'll say, yeah, sure. As long as he doesn't, stab anybody.
I can't make any promises, but I can promise that.
Well, then neither can I.
But I can promise we'd be more than willing to take him out of your hands, should he arise up to no good. Thank you. I just kind of like nod and bow my way out.
Alright. So, eventually, you reconvene. In the meantime, Clint, at the admission of everybody looking through their shit to make sure nothing's been taken, does a thorough inventory of his own, which takes a bit. And so, Leaf, Adira, and Foresight will return.
Riley greets them and says, "I take it you didn't manage to catch up to him."
He may have found his way back to the caravan, judging by the tracks, but he's too slender, and I can't exactly go through each of the carts rummaging for him.
That's unfortunate. Tell me, Leaf, do you find it curious that the footprints that Foresight found led straight up to Box and fiddled around for a bit and then completely ran off thereafter?
I never mentioned that.
You didn't? Oh, did someone else do it, or am I just out of my mind?
The GM did.
And that was me telling him what we saw.
Okay. I take that back.
Do you, though? Do you really? I
Well,
think you
yeah.
meant it.
I mean, I wanted to mean it, but that'd be metagaming, and I'd hate to do that.
A moral
I'd be more than
quandary.
happy to discuss the topic with anyone who chooses to bring it up.
Everybody starts looking. Whoops. Not really, though.
Well, as I mentioned before, if he chooses to run off, that is his own accord. He's fully capable of handling himself unless the guards catch him. We have a job to do.
It's an unfortunate decision, but perhaps he's better off with the rest of the caravan rather than heading to Elf Murder Castle.
He is an elf.
Oh,
You don't think that saying Elf Murder Castle out loud spooked him, do you?
Surely not.
Why are you calling it Elf Murder Castle? It's called the Black Keep. This is the reason people think places are cursed and haunted. As people go around, they start calling a place instead of by its proper name, they start calling it Elf Murder Castle and the Tomb of Annihilation and things like that.
Well, yes, but these titles sound so ridiculous that who could take them seriously? Right? Of course no place...
Well,
A lot of the lay people, I tell you, a lot of the lay people.
Well, that just means we get to have a good laugh at them.
the Black Keep doesn't exactly sound welcoming on its own.
True, but it's certainly a less foreboding than Elf Murder Castle.
Well, things tend to garner nicknames to those with limited information, and that's how I was introduced to the idea of the location in the first place.
I suppose. Well, I suppose then, unless plans have changed, we're off?
I believe we should be off.
Alright. Just as a show of good faith, I'm going to give you each 50 gold now. And I will give you the other 500, or the other 450 when we have completed. As most of my funds are not with me, but rather are at my museum.
Alright, I give Leaf 6 gold pieces.
Wonderful.
That's awfully kind of you. Thank you.
I'm just repaying my debt.
So, thank you very much, and I suppose let us be underway. And he goes and he starts getting up on the front of his wagon.
I guess we'll assume traveling formation and head off into the woods.
I believe I promised to ride on Clint's wagon to guard him and his elvenness.
Sure. It's an elf world.
Yeah, yeah.
Foresight's completely safe. We got him on a leash.
This leash protects you from everything, Foresight. It makes you feel safe and happy.
Riley will hang out with Clinton, Leaf, and Box as well, if there's room.
Okay.
Of course.
There's not a lot of room in the cart, but there's enough for like both of you to sit on the back
Good enough.
and Box to walk.
We go.
You go and you travel for a while, and then dun. It's several hours of travel, but you arrive. Lightning flashing in the sky, thunder cracking overhead. A structure made of old, dark stone stands against the skyline, hanging over the trees, choked by vines and other vegetation. You arrive outside the Black Keep.
All right. What can we make out? So now that we see the Black Keep, like, does this just look like a broken, dilapidated castle, or does this look like the freaking broken, shattered husk of Tolbarad?
This is a fort, so it's kind of castle-like, but it doesn't really have much in the way of pleasantry and amenities. There's not a garden or anything like that.
Okay.
It is a lot more utilitarian in design. It has thick outer walls, which it doesn't even look all that dilapidated. It doesn't look particularly collapsed anywhere or anything like that. It actually looks to be in fairly decent condition for its age, having been left alone for so long. You can see where in the front walls there are some trees that the roots are starting to crawl up under the walls and cause some deformation, but it's actually still in pretty good condition.
Would you call it suspiciously good condition?
I would not call it suspiciously good condition. I'd call it really good building.
Okay.
That has, the trees have started to grow into it. It has been 200 years.
Yeah.
So it is starting, the outer wall is starting to get choked, but, you can kind of see forward, if y'all have got light, kind of see forward and see, the courtyard, which is overgrown with, grass and small bush, small bush, but not anything, severe that's going to be, tearing down walls and such.
Fair enough.
And you also imagine that the thick, dense vinage that's growing on the outer wall is probably actually helping to keep it together.
Alrighty.
You travel for a while and then you don't. I guess that's accurate. You do travel for a while and then you don't. So Clint pulls up and he will stop his cart outside the thing. And can y'all see this? Did y'all move to the map?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, except the turn order things, in the, you can move it around, but it's on the thing.
Is it done now?
Yes, question, no.
Yes.
This is all happening the same day we fought the flying bandit and everything else, so what time of day is it after several hours of travel?
Nighttime.
Well, it's always nighttime.
It's
Don't get smart with
getting,
me.
It's it is getting towards when y'all should rest, and Clint will bring that up. I'll say, unless you are on some other schedule, I think we should take our time to set up camp, perhaps just in the courtyard there, so that there's some barrier around us, and then we can prepare and get some rest before heading inside.
All right. That sounds reasonable. All right. So what I will do is I will set myself in this little nook over here.
Okay, that is the gatehouse.
Okay.
And so like there's this like thunder of rain from both sides, and it of course it's still very damp in its own right, but it is like an arch, probably about 15-foot tall archway. And the gates on it are like they were just heavily reinforced wood and are open. Like the bar from the inside that held it together is long since rotten and broken.
Okay, that's fair enough. Before I immediately step in there, I am going to to search for traps with the help of my retractable bowl. So,
All right. Go ahead and make me a perception check.
no problem. And I got very low. I got a little perception.
You don't see any traps.
All right, it's safe. I said it.
You do not trigger any traps.
Good.
I will.
You do not trigger any traps again.
Okay.
Brock, you trigger a trap.
Yay.
No, I'm kidding. No, it does not seem that that this little bit here in of itself is trapped in any meaningful way. But that only bodes for the main gate. So.
All right. So yeah, I would probably start setting up camp exactly where I am right here. So within the gate, where I presumably have a little bit more shelter against the rain.
All right.
Go
ahead.
I've got my hobo tent stuff. So I'm going to find like a place along the wall or somewhere that I can use to my advantage to set up the tent in such a way to help keep dry.
Okay. Do you have pittance with your hobo tent?
I don't know because you bought it for me, and it's just listed in my inventory as hobo tent stuff.
Okay, yes, you should have 4 pittance then. I didn't remember if I had done it or if you had done it.
You did it.
Yeah, you should have 4 pittance. Yeah, anywhere along the wall, you could shove a piton into like a gap in the stonework to like lash your thing up.
Okay.
And then you could probably use like this stump over here. Thick, I say. Oh, thick, that one. That stump over there. To kind of get in and create your anchor for the other side.
Okay.
Alright. Foresight. Are you just being dragged around by her?
I mean, I'm not gonna say no. I don't mind it.
We are going to have the most interesting fan fiction.
Well, you know, it's really interesting to me how he took the concept, Sean, of one of those backpacks with a leash that are made to keep track of children and turned it into this. But, you know, he's the DM, so we roll with it.
Well, those backpacks are constraining, but you don't have like the means to make a little lash or anything. So the most sensible thing is to use the loop on top of the backpack to tie it to his neck.
Why wouldn't you just tie it to the loop of the backpack?
Because he could
Sean.
just shed the backpack.
Kids could just shed the backpack. They're just not
No,
smart
they
enough
have
to.
a latch on it. They have like a clip that's supposed to be kid-proof.
So why don't we get a fucking clip?
Because Sean has more fun this way. So I guess I will set up the tent in a configuration that will allow Foresight to be there as well.
Alright.
I have no arguments with this.
We're about to go to sleep, right?
Maybe. I'll have to ask the DM.
That
If
area
we
there
are-
is covered.
I'm gonna move kind of to this spot right here,
Yeah.
And kind of in between these two doors. 'Cause these are doors, right? These little
Yes.
yellow
The
brown
things that stand out.
Okay. Right there for the next round, I will have. What is it? 30 feet. No, 60 feet. He'll basically put his hand on the wall and kind of focus. And for the next round, I will have 60 feet of tremor sense. So I would like to know if anything's moving in the building within 60 feet of us.
Nothing is moving within the building, and go ahead and give me a strength check, followed by a perception check.
A strength check? What,
Yeah.
Push the building over?
No.
3.
Okay, give me a perception check.
23.
23. Alright, so even with your weak, bang against the wall, you're able to see...
I wasn't really banging, he's just literally just pressing his hand. Kind of as a
Okay,
focus.
Well, you see a little bit, anyway.
Oh, cool.
But no, there's nothing moving within.
Okay.
There's the rumble of rain.
Well, I would turn around and tell everybody that I sense no movement inside the building. So, at least within a close distance, we should be okay. If there's something wandering around further inside, I'm not sure. But there's nothing directly on the other side of these doors.
Sounds good.
I'll move over here somewhere.
Alright, so the three of you and Box are setting up to rest in the
Gatehouse.
gatehouse.
Seems like a cozy spot.
Yeah. Cozy enough. Just for note, there's enough space for 2 to 3 people to sleep in the cart.
Done. That was where I wanted to originally, but I was like, the gatehouse seems kind of nice, but fuck it, I'll take the cart.
Okay.
That's fine. We didn't want you in the gatehouse anyway.
Oh. Oh. Just party out
Just
here
gatehouse.
with Mozart.
Well, you can always come grab the leash and bar Foresight.
Tempting, but I don't want to move anymore.
You know, he's just gonna take a little time. He's gonna summon up boys. It's gonna be fine.
I'm gonna have my own party over in the cart with blackjack and hookers.
No. Where
Well,
rats
they gotta-
and hookers.
The hookers got to get past us at the gatehouse first. What if we just stop them and let them hang out here?
So many attacks of opportunity too, man. I don't know if we can. Damn.
Oh.
Setting up camp is fun.
Hey, Riley. Hey. Are we outside?
No, we're in the cart.
Why is it raining? Where the hell are we? No. Oh, no. This gatehouse is sounding more like the gated house.
Oh, I get it. We're an explicit podcast. This makes sense now.
Now it makes sense.
Yeah, fuck, man.
None of it ever makes sense.
Give me more Kinkfinder. Let's go.
Roll for kink.
Oh no, I don't need to roll. I already know it.
Oh, I typed in 10. I guess that works. Is that a maybe, Foresight?
Don't even worry about it, man. Don't even worry about it.
You ain't in the tent. You don't get to know.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the way it's configured, Riley can literally just look straight over and see whatever's going on.
Hey, if that's his thing.
19 perception.
He just wants it to be described. What's happening?
I'm sleeping.
You're sleeping. What is
I'm
Foresight doing?
Same. I was actually rolling for sexuality. We'll find out what that roll meant. Find out.
Find out what that meant.
So now it might be kind of creepy because we're asleep and he's watching
Maybe
us
that's a
sleep.
kink. I'm not a
Who else am I
kink.
gonna look at? The donkey? Like, come on.
Hey, it's a nice ass.
He's got a pair of
I see what you
binoculars
did there.
looking across the courtyard. Just, I know they're up to something in there.
Wait, I have
Figure out what it
binoculars?
is.
I was
much
about to say,
binoculars
that's the
for?
most hilarious part is you think he can afford binoculars.
Well, I just got 50 more gold, so...
They cost 1,000.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's not even close, is it? Huh.
No.
Binoculars
Well,
and spyglass are both very expensive.
Alright, well, hold on.
It
I
is
can
on
roll
a relative
diplomacy to
scale.
bargain, right?
What?
I can roll diplomacy to bargain, right?
I don't think you're getting a 95% discount against no merchant that doesn't have it.
But I'm flashy. That gets me a bonus, right? No? Alright.
If you say your name enough times,
Yeah, don't they know who I am?
I will give you this. If somebody literally sends you a pair of binoculars in the real world, I will give Riley a free pair of binoculars.
Alright, people need to hit me up for my mailing address. Let's do it.
Well, he didn't specify, like, he didn't qualify that at all. You're somebody.
I think I
Anybody
own a
else?
pair of
Million
binoculars.
binoculars.
Do I
Oh,
own
someone
binoculars?
other than myself. Okay.
Oh.
You know, it's funny, my mom has a decent pair of binoculars.
call her up and see if she'll send them to you.
You mean she's not listening to my Pathfinder podcast?
Let's hope not, because this has turned into Kinkfinder.
It's okay, my mom listens to this.
Yeah, but your mom, she don't care. Some people have moms who care.
Okay, well, I'd like to take a second to say hi, Sean's mom.
Like
Thank you
your
for
mom,
listening.
your mom is laughing along with us, finding this all hilarious. To whereas, like, you don't know his mom. His mom might be appalled.
I want to say that whoever your grandparents are mean. You shouldn't name your daughter Paul.
What?
Nani.
Sean, I'm fixing to take a break so I can come in there and hit you.
Oh, shit.
I'm only a little sorry though, just a little. Just because I didn't think of something better.
But yeah, hi to Sean's mom. Everybody say hi to Tara.
I already did, but hello again.
Thanks for doxing my mom. Shit.
What's her dominant hand? Can you tell me that?
The left foot.
Oh, that's weird.
Hey, she's still doing better than my mom. My mom said, "What's a podcast?"
Ooh, that is better.
Can she buy it on Amazon? Was her next question. No, Mom, you can't.
No, but she can send us money.
Or me, some binoculars.
Yeah, somebody send Chris some binoculars.
Please, I need them. It's important to me.
That's it for this week, folks. I want to thank our patrons, Robin Mims, Tim Demuse, and Brian Rafe, for all their support and for being awesome people. Check the episode description for a link to our Patreon if you would like to join this list and to help support the show. You can also find our Twitter and contact email in the description as well. There are a lot of people who have helped us on our journey to poddom, and I'd like to shout some of them out, many of whom hang out with us in our Discord. The Hideous Laughter Podcast, Filmore's Crossing Podcast, aka D&D LCP, Weal or Woe Podcast, Hex Grid Heroes Podcast, The Roaring Trainers Podcast, the Within the Waves Podcast, the Podcast for the Untimely Dead, and Action Forge on YouTube. You can find links to their Twitters and short descriptions in the episode description. And thank you very much for listening. See you later.